Byarizanye nagiye kubona mbona ijosi riguye inyuma.
Raramye bona bagufata gute?
Mbere baranseresaga ngo nasinze bakajya ngo nasinze. Naba ngiye gusenga bakajya ngo nasinze. Mama naje kumwanirika kujya gusenga. Mbese umuntu mbonye avuga ibyo yishakiye nanjye nkabyakira.
Her neck muscles mysteriously malfunctioned. And from that day, her neck is no longer in its initial position, and she now sees everything upside down. Parents never had enough money of taking her to the hospital. But after airing her story, well-wishers contributed on GivingLife.com, and money was handed to them, and they're now ready to take her to the hospital. Having dropped out of school, she says she will return to school after fully recovering. This is the update. Emma was born and lived a normal life until one day when everything changed. Since that day, her life has never been the same. It's now 4 years since the neck failed. Emma was about finishing her secondary school and studied in senior 6, but was so unfortunate not to complete her studies due to this illness that left her neck bent. Her parents were poor and never had enough money of taking her to hospitals, and Emma had to teach herself and adapt to living a life where people say she sees the world upside down. What hurt her the most is that before falling sick, she had a fiancé and they were about to get married. She truly loved the man, but was so disappointed as the man left her pregnant and abandoned her after seeing that she fell sick and the neck bent itself like this. When thinking on what might have caused this illness, she says that before falling sick, she was in love with dancing and practiced more often. But as days went by, she started feeling too much pain and tightness in her neck muscles. That later, the neck completely bent itself and could not return to its initial position, in what people think that she might be suffering from neck spasm. But since no doctor ever confirmed what she's suffering from and results have always shown negative, then there's no one who knows what she is really suffering from. She was taken to a more advanced hospital where there was a hope that she could be treated. But the hospital bill was too much for her parents to afford, and the conclusion was bringing her back home as they had no any other option.
Muri prive banca amafaranga menshi abyanjye nabasha kuyabona. Mbese mbaye ko ari ukuryama gusa simbasha kwicara kurya byose simbishobora.
Now everything to her is difficult ever since the neck bent itself, and she spends most of her time lying on the bed. Since both standing and sitting makes her neck more painful, she always avoids going to different places. Since those who don't know her thinks she always looks drunk, and the reality is she's always sober but sick. Despite being sick and spending too much time in bed, she tries and goes out of the bed and does some cleaning and other necessary home activities. She's worried that without treatment, her condition is likely going to even become worse, and as a result, she might not get someone else to love her. That was our first visit, and she was worried about her life and her future in general, since there was no money for her to go to the hospital, and she was losing hope daily, as Emma cannot even manage to do any job due to this illness, making her struggle to survive. After almost 5 months since we last visited Emma, today we return and see how they've been coping with life for the past few months. And the father says our first visit wasn't in vain, as it was so helpful in different ways.
nitwa Gasana Emmanuel. Ushize nyine mwaje kudusura nyuma amaze kwabara bamwe nabo bagiye baduhamagara nyine batubaza ko umwana ameze n'amakuru ye.
The man says Emma's situation is still the same, and it sometimes get worse and harder for them to even help her. They try and hold the neck for her, but no one can hold the neck for the whole day, and that's why she spends most of her time sleeping. The man adds that since the day the daughter fell sick, there's no medicine that has ever helped her, but instead she's always feeling too much pain, and they have no answer to this. As a parent, he's worried since her daughter looked as if he had a promising future. But these past 4 years have changed everything, that they're no longer expecting something from her. All they want and are looking forward to is seeing Emma getting treatment and having a normal life. Emma, on the other hand, is always advised not to spend too much time in bed, in fear that it might result into another illness that could possibly make the situation worse. That's why she takes some time and moves around in a way of exercising as much as she can, which parents think is somehow useful. They needed money for treatment, and when we aired and published her story, a campaign on GivingLife.com to helping them get money for treatment was created, and different good Samaritans and well-wishers contributed, and today we brought all funds gathered. Emma says she's surprised for this amount of money given to them and thanks everyone who contributed to saving her life. She now believes that soon she'll be treated and she'll be back to her normal and even continue her educational career.
ariko nyine nkaba nshimira TV ko imfashije rwose irakoze Imana isubiza ayikuye ko nanjye njya kugerageza bakamvuza nkarako nasubira ku ishuri nkarangiza kwiga wa gatandatu.
The father also takes time thanking those who contributed to making this possible and adds they're going to try each and everything to see whether should have a normal life. One of the most difficult tasks for Emma is eating, which is almost impossible to be done by herself, and that's where her parents come in. This means that if she spends a day without anyone else at home, it can be very difficult for her to eat, and she might be likely going to remain hungry until when someone else arrives. They are at least happy that they are helping her for the next few days, since they now have money to taking her to hospitals, but add that a load is still needed for her treatment to be complete, being the reason the father requests people to keep donating. And you can keep helping Emma by contributing on the Giving Life's link, found in description and pinned in top comments. Life is unfair and cruel. This is a fact that cannot be denied. Life works on different rules, which are complicated and not as per one's convenience at all. Life's hardest struggles end up being a blessing in disguise. So shift your focus from what you wanted to what is needed so that you can let go of the emotional pain. Thank you for watching. I'm Elijah and this is Afrimax English. Remember to subscribe.